click it, it won't let me communicate. So, all right, we got 12 people in here, so let's start this off right. Let's get some music going. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rainy Nights. Tonight, my guest is Spaceman Spiff. Spaceman Spiff. All right, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, and what do you ride?
Oh boy. So right now I'm living in Tampa, Florida, originally from New Jersey, and I ride a 2009 Dyna Lowrider S, or not S, sorry, a Dyna Lowrider.
Right on. How long have you been riding?
Coming up on 6 years now. I got my license when I was 23, and haven't looked back since.
Right on. So, being in Florida, so it rains a lot down there. So, would you consider yourself a fair weather rider or a rough rider?
I'm a rough rider out of necessity.
out of Florida.
I mean, sort of. I don't like to drive. If it's raining before I ride, I'll probably say nah, screw it. But if it starts raining in the middle of a ride, don't really have a choice. Yeah. I also really don't like cars, so if I given the choice between the two, I'll probably take the bike over the car anyway.
I think once you get used to riding a bike, your field of vision is 270 degrees at all times, and then once you get into a car, it's like you have way too many things sticking up in front of you, and the ride's just not the same. I feel like every little window bracket and every little door bracket is hiding something from me that I could possibly hit.
Oh, absolutely. Just even the A-pillars in your car annoy me. Like there's so much that gets hidden there, and I apologize for my cat being noisy.
Cats are part of life.
She just wanted to be included.
Cats and dogs. Oh, I get it. So, how did you get into motorcycles?
So when I was really young, my dad told me stories about him and my uncle going off on little adventures, and I think the story that stuck with me from all that was my dad decided he wanted to go to Maine from Buffalo by way of Chicago on a little Honda 175 from the 80s. And I remember sitting. I remember just sitting as a kid, listening to this whole story and all the experiences that he had, and just, that's really cool. I want to do that. And if I had my druthers, I'd been riding as soon as I turned 17, 18, when you could get your license in New Jersey. But finances were not a thing then. So.
So, how did you get from New Jersey to here? Well, to there.
By way of every other state in the U.S. So the first time I left New Jersey, I was 19. And I decided to hop on a plane to Seattle. And I decided that New Jersey sucked, and I never wanted to come back. So I traveled around the country for a little while and came back to New York for about a year and a half. And I remember watching John Maxwell and like all the stuff that he did, and I'm like, that's cool. I want to know more about how things work. I want to learn how to wrench. Like I went to school for auto mechanics in high school, and then I got a bike and thought that cars were dumb and bikes are way better. And so I decided to go to school for motorcycle mechanics instead, and that's how I ended up in Orlando. And I haven't left since.
So was that 125? Was that your first bike, or was that your dad's bike?
The 175 was my dad's first bike. My first bike was a bike I had no business being on.
What was
It was an LTD 700, a 1985 Kawasaki ZN 700 LTD, standard chassis. Standard chassis with an inline four air cooled Ninja engine, basically, and shaft driven. So that was dumb. It would do 80 miles an hour in like second gear.
Kawasaki 750 LTD was the first bike that I ever wrecked, and I wrecked it in a big way. Within 5 minutes of getting on it, I put it through a ditch, over a barbed wire fence, and landed in a cow pasture. So I feel
that. Yeah, yikes! I wrecked that bike in about 2 months.
Well, you did well.
I did better than most people with, big bikes. I mean, it certainly wasn't small, not especially for an inline four. That's a big bike. But I made it longer than I thought I would. Like looking back, I should have done the dumb sooner.
So Aaron's asking, so that's a fast bike? Yeah. Well, Aaron.
It's
faster than a Rebel. So yeah.
is not slow. It's not going to be as fast as like a ZN, like a ZX6 or anything, but it hauls a lot more than a beginner should.
So I guess I can ask, who inspires you to ride?
It's my dad and my uncle mostly, but I think like from the beginning it was definitely them. But overall, I'd have to say just I saw it in media. I saw bikes everywhere, and I thought they were just awesome. So kind of the world at large.
Okay. So Zan's asking, is anybody else having problems hearing me? Can anybody hear me okay? I can balance out, let's see.
I've got, let's see.
Can everybody hear me all right? All right. I think everybody else can hear me okay. So
yeah.
Sorry, Zan. You're the only one, maybe. I don't know. Zan, if you're having problems hearing me, because this is the way this is set up, one of us might come out one ear, the other might come out the other ear, so that might be where you're having some problems if you only have maybe one headset on or something, or if you're on a single channel. So,
say you're super soft.
Well, does anybody have any questions? As we're rolling along, go ahead and put your questions in here. I'm going to keep going with my questions, and Spiff we can come back to other questions.
Sure.
So I know you live down in Florida. You're with probably one of the most popular groups, motorcycle-wise, in America. So, would you rather solo ride or ride with a group?
There's no easy answer to put that. It depends on a mood. I mean, most of the time I'm riding by myself anyway, so I prefer solo riding more often than not, just because I know me. I know what I'm gonna do. If I'm gonna screw something up, I know I'm gonna screw it up, and it's not gonna be because somebody else screwed it up. I've been in large group rides before, and they're exhilarating and absolutely terrifying all at the same time. It's great adrenaline rush, and I would do it once a year. But I prefer, out of the two, I would probably prefer solo riding the most.
So if you were in a group ride, what's your perfect group size to go out with? Let's say if you're going down to Riverside.
Okay, so like if we're going down to like River's Edge, I would prefer 5 people, not including myself, 5 other people. On the outside, 10 people total would be probably the max that I would be kind of okay with getting kind of loose and feeling the road.
I get it.
There's the fewer the people, the less likely something is to go wrong.
And the less
unless you
likely
break
to lose somebody. Yeah. All right. What is your favorite moto meetup? We're gonna play like we don't know, but for the fans.
It's definitely Forgotten Angels. Hands down, without a doubt. I've been to a few. I've been to some bike nights. I've never been to like Bike Week in Daytona. I've never been to Sturgis. I don't care about either of those. I don't care about those things. They're not. It's just it's a big circle jerk anymore, is what those are. You know, vendors. It's nothing but a business opportunity for people. There's no sense of camaraderie. I would say that I probably know like good 85% of the people that show up there, at least by face, if not by name. And there's a sense of familiarity and like a familial bond there. So it's got to be Forgotten Angels.
We were talking the other night in one of the chats that I've gone to other bike meetups before. I've gone to the Honda Hoot. I've gone to some other events, motorcycle wise. You get there, you might meet one person, you might say hi to 10 people, and then you're leaving the next day, and you literally have made no friends. You may have made one. When you go to Forgotten Angels, if you bump into somebody, that's going to be a friend. Anybody you bump into and start talking to, you just made a friend. Somebody you walk over to and they hand you a beer, you just made a friend. And so it is the most intimate, and bikers don't like to use that word, but they act on it all the time, whether they want to say it or not. That is one of the most intimate meetings and group meetups that I've ever been to, and I love it.
Absolutely, it's like home.
Dave and Cindy are amazing people.
Dave and Cindy are amazing people. We got a lot of amazing people in the audience right now. So this one guy, he's from Texas, out near Waco. He wants to know what made you choose the Dyna, and can you name one standout feature about it that makes you prefer it?
Oh man, I could. You know me very well, sir. I could talk at length about the Dyna. That could be an entire episode. So I chose the Dyna. Believe it or not, one of the things that turned me on to the Dyna. For the longest time I was so against Harley Davidson. Oh, they're overpriced. They break a lot. They leak. Blah blah blah. And then I saw Blockhead riding his Lowrider S, his Dyna Lowrider S. And I'm like, okay, that dash is kind of cool, right? I just wanted to know what bike it was, and I looked at it, and I don't know how to describe it. It's like looking at something and all of a sudden, like, you get tunnel vision. It's like falling in love. It's the easiest way I can put it. It's like falling in love. You never thought that you'd end up where you are. I saw that, and then I started doing research. Okay, well, what about the Dyna? Why is the Dyna cool? And the Dyna is cool because Sons of Anarchy did some stuff, and that was cool, I guess. But the thing I like about the Dyna is that it's a giant Sportster. It's wide. It's wider. I really like the Sportster on paper, but the problem that I have with Sportsters is that they are entirely too narrow and they are not a cruiser. Harley markets it as a cruiser these days, but it is not. It is supposed to be a track bike. It's the answer to the Bonneville. And so it's narrow, and when you take a narrow frame like that and you put it on a cruiser, it gets really weird and uncomfortable. It's like riding a broomstick.
It's a hopper. Yeah, it's not meant to.
It is. And so I started looking into it. And looking at the design. First of all, the aesthetics are just. I love that. I love that it looks like the old 60s and 70s FXEs, you know, the old FXs, the shovel heads, but with an engine that doesn't suck. You know, I don't like shovel heads.
Guys,
I don't like shovel heads at all.
Oh my god.
Shots fired. You can come at me all you want, and I will give you so many reasons.
Yeah, I can see. I think shovelhead guys, and they exist. I think it's because they put so much time and energy and effort into getting them perfect. It becomes a religion. It becomes a religion.
Oh yeah,
you have
it's
to pray at 3 times a day. And once you get that deep into something, you either have to love it or trash it. And I think people just get into it. I mean, and I will admit,
I see the appeal.
Yeah, something you put your hands into that often, and you get to know. As soon as it makes this funny noise, you know what it is. As soon as it makes that weird hum, you know what it is. And I think that's the draw to a lot of these bikes that are very hard to take care of.
Yes,
that and bike.
You learn it. Ready for this? I'm going to use that word again. You know it intimately.
I like that word.
That's a great word. I love that word.
So Anthony, Sky Limit would like to know, what makes you ride by yourself? How can you just get out there all by yourself and ride?
So the first thing I do is I put on my helmet. No. I don't sit still very well. I fidget. I get attacked by a cat. And I get bored. I get bored if I just sit and do nothing. And it just doesn't. I get antsy, and as soon as I get on the bike and I don't even need somewhere to go. Like if a destination is an excuse, just throw a dart on a map somewhere and there you go. There's your destination. But I ride for most of the time. If I can, I just ride for the sake of riding. I don't even care where it is. Work, to go to the grocery store. It doesn't matter. I would rather ride on a rainy day than drive on a sunny one. So if how do I put this? I don't know exactly how to explain it or what it is. I'm an introverted dude. Like I have moments of being social. This one shakes her head at that. I know, because she's more introverted than I am.
You've always been fiercely independent too.
Yeah.
Like a cat.
I guess that's a word for it. I don't need somebody to tell me something, or I don't need a reason to do something other than I feel like it. It's just what I want to do. So I do it. I don't wait for other people. If I want to go do something, I go do it. Unless, of course, I'm specifically trying to arrange a group ride to go ride with my friends and hang out with people. But if it's a case of just, I want to go ride the bike today. Where do I go? West. See what I find.
Me and Diana have jumped on the bike before and said, let's go somewhere, and not known where we were going. And ended up, And that, I think that's when you get the best interactions and you see the coolest things, because I've never been here before, and your alertness is on high, and you see everything when you do that. If you ride the same road every day, you know, I try to take different ways to work when I go, because I want to see different things. So, and on the way home, well, I don't have to go straight home. It's only 12 miles. I can take the long way around and take the 40-mile home trip around, you know, around the back of the highway, and I see so much stuff, and it's so exciting. But I was telling Tony the other day, he's like, where do you decide, you know, how do you decide where to go? And I think it was Sky's Limit that was asking me, and I said, just go. Go until you don't feel like driving, or until you have to put gas in the bike, and then come back. I do. Yeah. I'll turn my GPS off and just take off somewhere, and when I get somewhere and, okay, I think I need to go home now, turn the GPS on, find out I've been riding 3 hours on back roads, and I'm only 30 minutes from home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some fun rides.
Oh, yeah.
Those rides are awesome. Introduce that lady next to you. She is like the jelly to your peanut butter.
She is the sweet one. I'm the smooth one. This is Charlene. This is my significant other. We've been together for. I'm gonna get buried tonight. Is what's gonna happen. If you don't hear from me by tomorrow,
chocolate works.
He's got a couple months to remember.
I do. Almost 2 years.
My favorite girl.
Almost 2 years.
Right on. My wife says that's her favorite girl. Did you hear that?
I love you. I love singing with you.
Yeah, she's a fit. She's my fit though.
Yeah.
So So barring all the big meetups, Forgotten Angels, and these group rides, what is the favorite single meetup where you said, we're going to go somewhere all together, we're going to go someplace and meet a bunch of people? What is your favorite of all?
What constitutes, how many people constitutes the meetup?
5, 10.
5?
A group that you knew was going to be somewhere, and you rode there and they were there, and when you got there, your best buds were there.
Okay. The Tail of the Gecko.
Tail of the Gecko. Tell us about
it. The Tail of the Gecko. Okay, so it was there were a few of us. I think it ended up being like 20 people. So usually there's a Sunday ride. Hasn't happened a little bit because summer is awful in Florida and holiday stuff. But usually there's a Sunday ride, and we'll go out. We'll meet at the Dirty Shame, and somebody will either already have a ride planned, or it'll be like, hey, where do you guys feel like going? And at that particular moment, one of our buddies, Jake, good dude, he was like, I know this restaurant at the end of this road, and it was like a two-hour ride. The closest thing that Florida has to any kind of twisties. And we just, it was all county roads, and it ended up, I can't remember the name of the place that we stopped at. But it was probably rolling 20 deep, and I had no commitments anywhere else. It was just, we're going to go to this place, and we're going to hang out, we're going to eat, we're going to have a few beers, and we're going to ride home. The destination didn't matter. It was the there's a spot up there with some nice riding, let's go. And that's probably the most memorable one. Also because somebody dropped their bike, which was an interesting time. She's okay. She handled it like a champ. She was totally awesome about it, and everybody was there like immediately. But you know, between the two, that was probably the most memorable group ride thus far.
Sounds fun. I hate living.
It was a hoot.
I wish I lived in Florida. I wish we lived in Florida and we could do all this stuff with you guys. This sounds amazing.
I agree.
Never too late.
Yep, I'm a couple
I like the one where we
Couple
got caught
years
in the rain.
maybe.
couple years from that permanent military
Couple years.
paycheck, and I can definitely see getting out of here.
There you go.
So, what is the stupidest thing you have ever done on a motorcycle?
Lane split on I-4. Okay, so this is mostly for Florida natives who know I-4. I-4 is a jungle. Actually, I wouldn't even say that. I-4 is a meat grinder. Everybody's got their heads up their own asses. Nobody's paying attention. Everybody's doing lane changes at 120 miles an hour and not using blinkers and not paying attention. And there was and in Florida, especially when there's a traffic jam across all 4 lanes, people like to try and jump into the lane that's moving the fastest, like in between like 2 cars that have maybe a car length and a half of distance between each other. And it gets a little scary. And I was riding from Tampa to Orlando to visit a friend, buddy Manny, and my cat, because in between school and then working at the ride factory, I was living in Brooksville, which is a weird time. So I was going from Tampa to Orlando, and for some reason, traffic decided to be a particular pain in the ass. So for the entire length of I-4 to Orlando, which is about 90 miles, it was just gridlocked. And like everybody was moving at about 5 miles an hour at the fastest. And so I decided that I didn't want to wait in traffic anymore because my right leg was starting to burn and my engine was in danger of overheating because it's air cooled, which is a great time. So I decided to lane split for about 40 miles between exit. Oh God, I want to say between exit 30 to exit 70 something or other. Was just nothing but lane splitting between cars for about 45 miles. That was probably the stupidest thing I've ever done on a bike.
But probably at that time, probably the smartest. Especially when there's crazy drivers around. It is not legal to split in Tennessee or Mississippi, but it's not illegal either. And sometimes you just got to make that choice to get out of other people's way.
Shoot.
Oh yeah. Most of believe it or not, I've only ever been pulled over on a bike once, and that's because I let them. I totally could have gotten away with it, but I ended up running a stop sign that I couldn't see. I've done some dumb stuff in front of cops and never been pulled over. I mean, I've been booking it. I've been riding aggressively, weaving through traffic. Nothing. Not a thing. So lane splitting, whether it's legal or not, I'm going to do it.
Sometimes you got to make the smart choice for yourself.
Absolutely. I am what you call a rational anarchist.
So on the heels of that, what is the scariest moment you've ever had on a bike?
Getting hit. Oh man, that actually sucked. I was actually going to deposit some money in my bank account so I could go buy a tire to replace on my bike when I was getting hit. When I got hit, it was New York, just a little bit of about 45 minutes north of the Bronx, a place called Verplanck. Really small peninsula in the Hudson Bay, and I ended up getting hit by a guy who was turning left and couldn't see me. I will say that in all fairness to the dumb decision that that driver made, the sun was behind me, but there was also a ton of traffic behind me too. So, I mean, while I'm smaller than a car and hidden by the sun, there's that you should have seen the car behind me too. But I remember him pulling out, and there was nothing I could do about it, and everything kind of like, it was slow motion, but also not. It's a weird, like, adrenaline is a hell of a thing. I remember right before I hit, I don't know, maybe like half a second before I got hit, I remember thinking, I'm gonna go over the hood of this car. It's gonna be a time, and I was not wrong. After that, I think the scariest thing was the fact that my bike was still running. It was leaking gas, and there's no ignition switch per se. It had a key switch at one point, but I replaced it with a rocker. So I'm like, I gotta turn my bike off. And they're like, we'll do it for you. Sit down. I'm like, you don't know this bike. Move before we all explode.
What bike was this?
This was my Virago. I had a 1989 Virago 1100 that I turned into a pseudo cafe. It was a cafe racer up front and a bobber behind.
Sounds
It was a fun time. I love that bike. I miss that bike so much. It got totaled.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That is what it is. You live and learn,
glad you survived.
grow.
So
Thank you. Me too.
So am I.
So for Christopher, yes, I will let you ride the K16 anytime you want to. I offered everyone to ride that bike at the camp out. Nobody wanted to ride it. It is, I tell everybody that bike only weighs 900 pounds when it's not moving. As soon as it's going about 5 miles an hour, it feels like it only weighs about 300. Unlike my Sportster.
I don't like BMWs, man.
God, I love that bike so much. That's my favorite one.
You know, fair. They feel weird.
It's like shovel
They
heads.
they feel strange. I'm like a cat when it comes to bikes. Everything's cool over there. You know, I have my preferences.
Yeah, I get so much shit.
Absolutely.
So I've got two of probably the most I won't say hated, but most judged bikes. So I've got the Sportster, and then I've got the BMW. So it's like, and you can't get, they're polar opposites. You know, Harley Sportster,
Oh, yeah.
this BMW bagger with the trunk and heated grips and heated seats and electric window, and you know, it's got everything. And then the Sportster.
Electric window.
So it's just,
But I mean,
absolutely
the only reason why the Sportster gets so much shit is because people are insecure.
yeah.
That Sportster off the line will kick any other Harley's ass, and they don't like it.
Like,
That's why it gets so much shit.
I can't remember who made the video asking about if a Sportster is a girl bike, and they're like, yeah, it's a girl bike, but I ride a Dyna Wide Glide. It's also a girl bike because I ride it, and I also have a KLR 650, and it's a girl bike because I ride it, and they just keep going on, and then they go.
I know the video you're talking about.
I can't remember who it was. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I won't repeat it, but
Fair. I think Sportsters are great bikes. I will say that it is one of the most reliable bikes that Harley has ever produced, and you can quote me on that, and I will die on that hill. It's not a cruiser. That's it.
it's a very comfortable bike for 30 minutes.
Yes, and you can make it comfortable. There are plenty of people who have done iron butts on Sportsters. There are plenty of people who've ridden cross country on Sportsters. You
Go ahead.
Keep living your best life, man. Good on you, because I'm not.
Yeah, I think everybody that has a Sportster that said they've done a long distance on it, it's because they changed the seat and they changed the suspension.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, like, do what you got to do. I've changed the seat on my Dyna
seat.
like 17 times.
Yeah, I'm on the third seat on the Sportster, and it's still the last one Viking sent me, and it's actually comfortable, but it's just very small. So it's a very padded, yummy seat, but then all of a sudden it's only like barely wider than your butt. So it's like, now it's not comfortable. So still working on that.
That's fair. No, I think anybody that rides a Sportster cross country, like, I don't know why people give Sportsters such shit. Those people are tough as nails.
As long as you keep it under 70, it rides pretty well. I'm going to give it shit, the 30-minute rule, but I went to ride it somewhere, and I rode it all over the place. And then once I got it out on the highway, it lasted about an hour. About an hour into the trip going down to Louisiana, it was like, okay, this is enough. Because I was trying to get it 80 miles an hour. It doesn't like being at 80 miles an hour. It likes being at about 65.
Unless you have a 1200.
Yeah, it's a 1200, but it does not like going over 70 miles an hour. 70, it's perfect. As soon as you start getting out of that, harmonic resonance, give it up. Mm-hmm. It's done.
What year's your Sportster?
21.
Oh. Okay, I was gonna say, is it the rubber mounted or the not rubber mounted?
It's rubber mounted.
It's rubber mounted.
Yes, it does not like going that fast. Well, let's get back to you. Let's not make this about me. Let's make it about you.
Oh.
So.
Oh boy.
What has been your favorite part of riding?
The ability to shut the world out. I'm an escapist. I'll admit it. I'll admit one of my biggest personality flaws. I am an escapist through and through. I love the ability to give people the excuse, sorry, couldn't take your call. I was on the bike. I don't do that. I don't text and ride, guys. Sorry about it. I love the ability to forget that things exist outside my purview. And I say that, and it sounds selfish, and it is, but I don't mean it in the way of I can forget that people exist outside of myself. I mean it in a way that I can get in touch with the world that I see rather than the world that exists outside of, like thousands of miles away, like this. Like I can get away from this, like this is awesome. I'm glad we get the chance to talk, but sometimes there needs to be that hard reset and that tribal 150 people, that are closest to you. And getting out on the bike is a way for me to just not have to technology for a little while, not have to do anything that I don't want to do because somebody says that I need to adult. I can say, screw you, I'm not adulting. I'm going to be a kid. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ride my bike.
And I've used that as a excuse before not to answer my boss's phone calls when I was leaving work. I was on the bike. Sorry. I've got a Bluetooth headset, but I'm sorry, man. I'm on the bike. I don't talk while I'm on the bike. Just music.
Sorry. Brian. But I've done that too. Hey, what are you doing? I'm on the side of the road riding because you called and I thought it was, and you made it sound important. What do you want? But yeah.
Now, flip side of that, what's the most frustrating part of riding?
Everything else. Traffic is a big one. The most frustrating thing about riding is people who don't. And like I don't mean that, like I'm trying not to be elitist or sound elitist rather. Like I don't think that everyone has to ride in order to be an equal or anything. Like, do your own thing. But the most frustrating thing about riding is people who don't ride or used to ride or like try to get those 15 seconds of cool. You know, I'm like, dude, this isn't my identity. Maybe about 75% of it, but like there's other things, you know, or like people like, well, people will make assumptions or it's just there's just they don't get it, and I'm not necessarily asking them to so much as just the willingness to accept that they won't get it. Agreed. Until they do it. That's the most frustrating thing I've ever run into about motorcycles is people who don't.
Or the people that just started and think they do.
Yes. Congratulations on learning the alphabet, buddy. Let's make a sentence.
Yep. I made so I didn't mean to piss the guy off, but I asked the guy what he had done to his bike, and he goes, "Oh, stage 2." I said, "Whoa, what part?" "Well, stage 2." "What of stage 2 did you do?" "Well, I got a stage 2 put on it."
Cool.
Don't
like which
talk
one?
To me anymore. We're done.
Yeah. Like, did you do the 545 cam? Did you do the 424 cam? You know, like, what did you do?
I think sometimes guys, I don't know. People like to feel like they're fitting in. I won't say that's just they're important because they want to fit in. They want to talk your language. Almost, I'll probably equate that to going down to Mexico and trying to speak Spanish. Good on you for trying, and I'll encourage you while I can. But let's take it. If you're not that good at it, let's take it back to English. Sorry, bud.
Yeah. If you would only know about 5 words,
yeah.
Don't tell me that you speak Spanish.
Absolute point. So next question. If you could go out right now and it was broad daylight, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, where would you go if you could go anywhere you wanted to go? And you didn't have to be back until tomorrow or the next day.
This is going to sound weird. New York. If it was summer. If it was still summer out. New York.
Yeah, I miss Chase too. Yeah.
Yeah. Chase is definitely a factor. I miss the mountains sometimes. I get out here sometimes and it's so flat and like the beach is cool and everything. But I miss the mountains sometimes. Those curvy roads and the changes in altitude. Everything feels different. Riding is different when you actually have to apply skill all the time, and it's tiring. And I like being tired after a good ride. If I could go anywhere and not have to be back for a couple, even if it was just to go there and come right back, New York. Ride all the way up the Appalachian Mountains and back down.
I've seen a lot of people ride those and thought, oh, that's New York. I've gone into Connecticut, gone into Rhode Island, but I want to go further. I want to actually get up in, the Eagle's Nest and go up, where they have the Babes Ride Out. And I want to go to those places because that looks just absolutely cool. It's the parts of the world you haven't seen that would change your mind about New York, New York State.
Oh yeah, I spent half of my childhood in a little town in New York called Faulkner, and it's up by Chautauqua Lake, about maybe 5 hours from Toronto. I was almost Canadian, but it's different up there when you get outside of the mountains in upstate New York. There's woods in that direction, you know, and in this direction there's just rolling green fields, and then you've got mountains straight ahead, and it's you've got 3 different types of terrain to choose from at any given time, and it could all change in the matter of miles. And and New York in the fall, upstate New York in the fall is gorgeous. I was riding through. I just picked a day to just leave for a bit, get out of the house, go somewhere. Hey, there's a Harley dealership. At least it's something. And I ended up riding through. Oh God, it had to be about 10 miles of just nothing but trees on that side, trees on this, and just woods on either side of the road. And it was fall, so these brilliant oranges, these dark and earthy browns, and these yellows and these reds, and they're just all just, oh my God, it was like riding through Rivendell. It was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous, and it was I would love to see that again.
That was the next best part about leaving Texas was that in Texas you either had green or brown.
Yeah.
And when you go north, you get all these crazy colors that they talk about on TV, but you're like, yeah, that's just TV. they must be using PictureScape. You know, that's Picture Pro. They're doing effects, and then you get up here and it's like, this is crazy. A tree would be 5 different
like,
colors in the same week. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, have you inspired anyone to ride or wrench on their own bike?
Doc, I'm looking at you, buddy. I've certainly tried. I always try to spread the good word. Every new rider I talk to, I always try to tell them, hey, you know, try your own oil change. Because an oil change is easy, you know, if you know what a bolt looks like, and if you don't, that's okay. You can ask questions, but I always try to encourage somebody to figure out the right questions to ask at the very least. Every single rider I come across is like, yeah, cool. Do you know how to do that? No? Awesome. You do it this way. You know, it's just it. Every single rider I meet, I always try to like impart the drive to know your bike intimately. Every person on the road or any person that I meet that brings up like the Dyna as a conversation piece even is like, cool. Have you thought about riding? You know, I feel like I'm a Jehovah's Witness of the motorcycle world, man.
I get it. I think once you get the fever yourself, you want to share it with other people.
It's a cult, dude. It's a cult. I love it.
Absolutely is. So, tell me something that someone might not know about you, not about motorcycles.
I love sailboats. That is the only other that if I had to pick one thing that I'm passionate about and like damn all the others, and besides motorcycles, it has to be sailing. I love sailboats. I used to design them in school. I wanted to build them. I wanted to be a shipwright.
Wow.
At one point in time, I wanted to be a shipwright. I love all things nautical. It's the tradition. I could probably name every single part of a boat. You know, if you give me enough time.
That is.
I love them.
You. I know you had the anchor, and then you know your logo is an anchor. I did not know you were that into boats.
Tom came up with the song.
I learned how to sail when I was 11 years old.
That is awesome. Hey, I did not know that about you. Thanks for sharing it.
Sure.
So Anthony wants to know if you had to set what kind of money limit do you put on taking off and going for a ride to go somewhere for a trip?
That depends on the distance.
Let's say if it was a 36-hour ride.
Oh, it was a 36-hour ride. A 36-hour ride. 36 hours of saddle time, not in between.
So it sounds like you're leaving on a Saturday morning, you're going to be gone and don't have to be back until Sunday night.
Well, probably say maybe about $50 for gas both ways. Say like the average cost of a meal is maybe about $10-15. I don't know, 150, $200 on the absolute most. For gas, food, lodging. If you don't want to if you don't want to sleep at a Motel 6, you're probably going to have to spend more or less if you decide to go camping. But probably on average, depending, which route you go, whether it's camping or a ritzy hotel, probably about $200 on average at the absolute most.
I find I eat a lot less when I'm traveling because I don't want to stop.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I don't eat that much. I don't like having a full stomach. I'll eat like maybe a breakfast sandwich and at the beginning of the day and some coffee, and then my lunch is usually a Cliff Bar and a Red Bull. And then for dinner, I'll probably have like a giant roast beef sandwich, something easy that I don't have to think about. That's packed with protein and carbs and some vitamins.
Yep. I usually it's like, well, let's stop, let's have lunch. Well, let's just go get gas and go to the next place. Well, let's keep going to the next place. I can't remember what the old commercial is. I think it's an old BMW commercial. Sorry, where the guy's like, well, I can get dinner tomorrow, and then he gets back on the bike and just takes off again. So it's I feel like I might eat the hotel, and then we might stop for lunch and maybe get a soda and a pack of peanuts and split it, or a Twix and split it, and then take off again.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
no.
I don't know, it just kind of takes over your senses. Absolutely.
Oh, man. I'm a smoker. And, I mean, like, I will... If left alone to chain smoke, I will easily go through, like, a pack and a half a day if I have nothing better to do with my time. And I know when I start to get cranky and when I start to nick fit and I need a cigarette, I start to want to murder people. I can ride a motorcycle for 5 hours without having to smoke. I won't even be grumpy. It's a weird thing. Yeah, It takes over all your senses. It just pushes everything else out. Yeah.
I have found myself before going, and I'm big on water. It's the joke around the house is anytime somebody says something, I'm like, how much water did you drink today? What, you got a headache? What, you cramp? What, you're sore? What, how much water did you drink? And I'll get on the bike and forget to drink water, forget to stop for water, and next thing I know, I'm putting my feet down and my legs won't hold myself up because I'm like, oh shit, I got dehydrated. So yeah.
Ooh, need more potassium.
Yeah. All right, our final question from me, and then we'll see what the Peanut Gallery has. If you could tell a new rider one thing that you had learned the hard way, what would it be?
Get out of your own way. Don't take everything everybody says with a grain of salt. Get out of your own way. If you want to do the thing, do the thing. It's easier said than done, I'm sure, and I know this because I've lived that life before. I was a new rider. We were all new riders at one point, and everything seems big and scary, and definitely do things within your skill limit. Don't get on a bike yesterday and try to drag a knee today. It doesn't work that way. But get out of your own way. If you want to go somewhere, do it. Don't wait until the perfect time or life's too short for that. I don't know if I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, you know, and I'm in reasonably good health, and you hear stories all the time of people just like passing away quietly in their sleep at 30 years old. You know, don't don't wait until the end of the year to do that big trip. You know, like just get on the bike and ride into the sunset like like the cowboys of old, man. Do it. If you want it, grab it.
Yeah, you haven't only done something once until you've done it, and then you've done it.
Exactly.
So let's see if we got some questions from the peanut gallery here. Aaron's worried about my hair. I'm not. What else we got? What questions do we have?
Let's see.
Coder had to leave. I think Parker's on the way out. Goodbye, everybody. Bleak's still here. What questions do we got?
Do the thing.
I think we've hit our questions.
I think so.
So, well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Hang on, let me get the
music.
I gotta get the music going. Hold on. Gotta get this porn star music going here.
You mean I've been on the casting couch the entire time?
It was your couch. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out to our very first interview, and I probably had it with the best person I could have at first because he's someone that I dearly love, and we'll be seeing him very shortly. So, all right, guys. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell. Go over to Spiff's channel, check out his Instagram. You want to plug your Instagram?
So on Instagram, the easiest way to find me is Spaceman Spiff, as Spaceman is one word. And my YouTube is Spiff McFluff. That's MCFLUFF.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for coming out. This will not be the last one, so all you guys out in the Peanut Gallery, when you come back for next weekend's, have your list of questions ready. I believe we're going to have a guest. I'll probably announce her tomorrow, but I think we're going to have Indigo Moto, so we'll see. All right, guys, until next time, keep the rubber side down. Be good.